Hi everyone, and good afternoon, and welcome to this week's mid-month mentoring. So this month we are talking about how to build remote teams. But before we do that, let me just tell you a little bit about myself. So my name is Richard Evans, as you know, and I worked for 35 years within the corporate sector. Let me just move my mouse a bit closer. 35 years within the corporate sector. And for 20 of those years, I was on a senior management team with one particular company. And during that time, we took the business from 2 million to 65 million. So quite significant growth. And at the same time, I was also a property investor as well. So I started investing in properties back in the 90s. And I was self-managing my property portfolio and growing that. Right up until 2017, when I then decided that I wanted to quit the corporate world, quit the rat race, and focus my time on my property business. And I knew then that if I wanted to grow and scale my business, that I couldn't do everything myself. And also I knew then that as a small growing business, I didn't have the money available to me to be able to build a team around me based in the UK. I needed to look elsewhere if I wanted to outsource a lot of the things that needed to be done within the business. So I started using a virtual assistant back then in 2017, based in the Philippines. And a lot of people were saying to me at that time, a lot of people were saying to me at that time, you know, that this is really good, the way you've got this virtual assistant that's doing all this work for you. Some people were saying that they had tried working with a virtual assistant and it hadn't really worked out. A lot of people were saying to me, can I borrow your virtual assistant as well to help me? And of course, the answer was no. Yeah, people were asking me how I had gone about recruiting my virtual assistant, and like I say, some people were saying that it hadn't worked out. So people were asking me to mentor them and help them recruit. So in 2018, I formed Awaken to Business, and at Awaken to Business, that's what we do. We help people scale up, I mentor people in business, and we have a number of different services to assist people with growing businesses. The main one being Boom. So that was a service that we formed in 2019, and that is recruitment of virtual assistants and training of those virtual assistants to work the Boom way and be great at what they do. And of course, also mentoring clients in working with virtual assistants. So that's Awaken to Business, that's Boom. And we also have another service as well, which is your virtual marketing team. And that is where we help people with digital marketing and things like branding, creation of websites, social media marketing, all that sort of stuff we do for people under your virtual marketing team. So that's enough about me. Today, we are talking about working with remote teams and creating these dream teams within your business. So I'm not very sure if you're familiar with Brad Sugars. Brad Sugars is the man behind Action Coach. Action Coach is the world's largest coaching and mentoring organization for business owners. And he's an Australian chap, and he has this saying, which I love, which is not employing someone in your business is costing you a fortune. So it's important, it's a necessity rather, really, if you're going to grow your business, that you have other people assisting you, you create your dream team. This is my dream team here, or this is some of my dream team and their children. So interestingly, they're all based in the Philippines. This picture was taken last Christmas at our Christmas party. So a lot of them live in Manila, and so that we had a Christmas party. I have never actually met met personally, face to face, in the flesh, any of my dream team. Hopefully that will change now that restrictions are being lifted and we can travel. And it's at the top of my list to travel to the Philippines, and in fact to put a retreat on in the Philippines, where I can meet my team and our clients can perhaps meet their VAs and combine that with some business training as well, doing some workshops. Yeah, so this is some of my dream team. There are other members of my dream team that are not based in Manila, so unfortunately they weren't there. But as you can see, when you are working with people remotely, you can still build very, very good relationships with those people. So I know all about my team and their families and their children and what's going on in their life. So it's really important when you are working with people remotely that you work on these relationships and develop these relationships. And I know that outside of work, my team often meet up socially, go for a lunch. They've done karaoke, sing-alongs together, and all sorts of things. So why do you need a dream team? So first of all, of course, you can't do everything yourself. You don't have time. There's not enough time in the day for you to be doing everything that needs to be done and working as a one-man band, if you like. You're not running a hot dog stall, so you are not. It's not just you that is the business. You need to have other people that are around you doing other things. As well as not having time, of course, you don't have the skills. You don't know how to do everything yourself. And you'll probably find with most small businesses, if you haven't got people doing things for you, there are no doubt things that should be done that should be done, but because you either don't have the time or the skills, these things just aren't being done at all. So create your dream team and then delegate out as much as possible and do as little as possible in the day-to-day stuff. As a business owner, you really should be being much more strategic with your time and focusing your time on growing the business and strategy rather than just doing tasks. So how do you go about actually building your dream team? You've got to hire the right people. So you've got to think about, okay, so what are the tasks that I need to have done? Who am I going to hire? What are the skill sets that person actually needs? So what is the role? You've got to think about writing a job description, describing exactly what the requirements are. What does the job position entail? What are the skills that you are looking for from the person that you're actually going to take on? Once you've got that together, you then need to think about, okay, so how am I going to recruit these people? Where am I going to get them from? So you're going to advertise the position. Chances are nowadays you're going to advertise that online. So where are you going to advertise it? What are the sites? Is it going to be recruitment websites? Is it going to be social media? Will it be LinkedIn? LinkedIn is obviously very widely used for recruitment. We use Facebook a lot. Most of our people, we lead people to our business through Facebook, not just our own Facebook pages, but other groups as well. There are recruitment companies in the Philippines that have Facebook groups. So we post our job requirements, our listings in those Facebook groups. Once you do that, you are then going to no doubt receive an awful lot of CVs. So typically in any one month, we will get 250, 300 CVs. So if you've done a good posting, you've posted in the right place, you've got a good description of the role, that's going to attract people. Hopefully you are going to get an awful lot of CVs. That of course is a good thing, and it's a bad thing as well. You've got an awful lot that you need to sift through. That does take time. So you need to commit good time to actually go through these. And all too often what people do is they start with good intentions and start reading through each one, and then deciding whether that one is going to make the pile for the next stage, or whether it's going to get thrown in the bin. But of course, as you start going through, the attention that you're giving to each particular CV will dwindle, and you can then find that you're actually deciding, does it make it to the yes pile or the no pile, based on what does it actually look like? Has it got nice colors and nice pictures and things like that in it? So do make sure you do commit the right amount of time to actually go through in detail. What I would suggest is you whittle that down to perhaps 20 or so that you would then want to take further, and then send out some questionnaires. So we send out general knowledge questionnaires to our applicants to see, what is the general sort of level of their intelligence. We also send out questionnaires where they have to answer the questions in 200 words or more. And the reason why we do that is so that we can see what their English is like, and what's the grammar like, how do they present themselves on paper. Then you want to be obviously doing so identity checks. So if they're based in the UK, perhaps you're going to want to see a copy of the driving license or passport. So check the address, check that they live where they say they live. You might also want to take out some personal references as well. And in the Philippines, so we carry out security checks on people. So we do take personal references, but we also do, I think it's called MBI or NBO checks as well, which is the sort of like police checks, if you like, in the Philippines. Another thing that you might want to do is psychometric testing. So we know that people fall into different categories. So some people are very creative and good with coming up ideas, maybe good at these sort of people are good at creating, architects and designers and web developers, and those sort of people require these creative skills. Other people maybe are better at processes, following a process, like the detail, they have an attention to detail, good at admin tasks. Obviously people that apply to us, they are very much good at that sort of detail process, doing admin tasks. But then of course we also do require the more creative types for perhaps working in marketing, so where you're creating social media content or websites and this sort of thing. So finding out where people are in their flow. So if you want to do that, Genius U is a very good test for doing that. So that's a psychometric test. It's free. If anybody wants to have a link to Genius U, drop us an email, and I can send you a link to the Genius U test. Once you've done that, then perhaps then you're going to do some interviews. So if they're remote, then the chances are you're going to be doing those interviews over Zoom. So you probably want to whittle down from the sending out the questionnaires. You've then gone from perhaps down from 20 or so to 3 or 4, I would suggest 3 or 4, 5 at the maximum that you're actually going to interview. Do those over Zoom. And then once you've done that, then you can decide who you're actually going to take on. Another thing you could do perhaps actually before making your final decision is give them some trial tasks to do. So just, something that's going to take an hour or two, and see how they get on, how well have they taken the instruction, and how well have they performed the task. Then make your final decision. You then are going to issue out a contract, agree the working hours, when are they actually going to be working for you. If they're remote, if they're based overseas, think about, do they actually need to be working on a UK time clock, or are they doing tasks that it really doesn't matter what time of the day they're doing those tasks, but have that specified within your contract. And then set a start date. When are they actually going to start working for you? So do remember, of course, that all this takes time. What I've just discussed there could take several weeks to do that. So do think about who are you going to need in the future, and allow plenty of time to recruit those people. So recruit today for the people that you need tomorrow. Also do think about, once you've actually got that person started, then you need to going to need to go through some training with them as well. You're going to train them. You're going to train them in the tasks that they're going to be performing. You need to train them in your business. What do you actually do? Where are you going with the business? So making sure that they're fully aware of exactly what the business is about and what they've got to do. What are the business values? So every business actually has a culture, and the culture is really derived from the business values. So if you don't know what your business values are, you should do. So think about your business. So for us, we have a core value, which is support. That is why people come to Awaken to Business. That's why people use Boom and our other services, because we are all about support. Your virtual marketing team, actually, its values are slightly different to Awaken to Business and Boom, because it's a different style of business. So with your virtual marketing team, our core value is wow, because we want to wow the customers. Our motto is to wow ourselves, wow our teammates, and wow our customers. Awaken to Business, our values are support as our core value, and then our surrounding values. So surrounding values are the ones that help us deliver our core value, really. So that is teamwork, working as a team. It's accountability. So we're accountable to each other within the business. I'm accountable to my team. My team are accountable to me and each other. Being disruptive. So not necessarily doing things the way that everybody else does, but we can come up with our own way, and being creative and our own way of doing things. Continuous development, so always looking at how to improve what we do, and giving back. So it's important to us as well that we are giving back, and we sponsor aid and charity projects within the Philippines. So every time somebody comes on board and does business with us, we are contributing and giving back to communities in the Philippines. So think about your values. Your values define your culture, and you need to make sure when you are recruiting people, not only have they got the right skill sets that you need, but are they a culture fit for your organization as well? And that is really, really important. Do they slot in? Because if you get that wrong, then there's two things that can happen. First of all, they're not going to last. But before they exit the business, they can also cause problems within the business. So, it's like a bad apple. So if you've got somebody that's not the right fit for the business culturally, then that can have an impact on other people within the business. Think about, do you want somebody to be working part-time, or do you want them full-time? So my advice is actually not to take people on full-time within your business. If you can, try and build a team based on part-timers. None of my team are full-time. And there's good reasons to have use part-timers. So first of all, you're not too reliant on any one person. You've got more resilience. It also allows you to focus the tasks that you give to people. The bigger the team, you can focus the tasks on delegating to somebody's based on somebody's actual skills. So always when you work to people's strengths and don't try and build on their weaknesses, or don't try and strengthen their weaknesses, make the role fit the person, not the person fit the role. So when you've got full-time part-timers, it's easier to do that. You can delegate accordingly. And also for the person as well, it maybe they can take on work for 2 or 3 businesses. And many of my team do that. Our virtual assistants that we recruit, we put them with 2 or 3 different clients, and that way they get variety. So they're not too reliant on any one person or any one business, but they also get variety doing different tasks for different businesses. They learn more, they develop more as far as their own skills as well. So it really sort of works out better all round. So then start to think about, okay, so am I going to take somebody on as on PAYE? Am I going to use freelancers, or am I going to use a virtual assistant? So PAYE, unless you're running a big business, I really would recommend that you try and avoid PAYE. With PAYE comes all sorts of things. There's additional costs, things like national insurance, pension contributions. It becomes very, very expensive. National insurance for you, not just the person that you're taking on. There's the legal side to it as well. When you take somebody on PAYE, you've got to make sure that that you are meeting all the requirements when it comes to employment law. So it's a lot harder if you recruit badly and they're on PAYE. It becomes a lot harder to actually let them go. So I don't advise PAYE. Then you've got an option. Do I use freelancers, or do I use a virtual assistant? So what's the difference? So a freelancer is somebody that generally is, they work for themselves. They're paid, they can either be paid by the hour or they can be paid for a project. I think using freelancers is generally better to have somebody as a freelancer if you've got a particular project to do. So it's a one-off task, but they're not part of your business. So it could be something like building a website, for instance. So there you might take on a freelancer to create a website for you or do some marketing for you. But once that project has finished, then they're no longer part of your business. And normally with a freelancer, they will have lots and lots of clients. They'll be doing lots and lots of projects for different people all at the same time. A virtual assistant, they are part of your business. So a virtual assistant, in fact, I'll move to the next slide. So they're part of the business. They are there for the long term. They are putting in regular hours every week, every month. And yeah, they become part of your team. A virtual assistant will provide support with the various different business operations. They can be a general admin type person, or they could be a specialist. So it could be somebody perhaps like a bookkeeper, somebody that perhaps does, I mean, we have in my team, most of them are specialists. So the people in my recruitment, that's their background. That's what they do. That's what they know about. My trainer, training background used to doing that in my accounts. So my lead person in team leader in the accounts is a qualified accountant, also a virtual assistant. Within the technical side, so I've got web developers, we've got on marketing, we've got content creators, graphic designers, all these various different people that have got particular specialist skills. As I say, they're part of your business. They can be full-time or part-time, but I recommend part-time for the reasons explained earlier. And they will generally be working from home. Not always the case, but generally. And a virtual assistant can be UK based or overseas. So let's look at some of the tasks. Say hello to Tanya. She is one of our team. Some of the tasks that our VAs can do for you. So calendar management, booking networking meetings and any workshops, meetings that you need to attend, taking care of travel arrangements for you, setting up and managing your CRM system. Everybody should you be using a CRM system to manage your contacts and your clients. VA can do that for you. We recommend one called Less Annoying CRM. There's a link to it on my website if you want to take a look at that. Managing your emails and responding as necessary, doing your social media, managing your website, doing updates to your website, collecting customer feedback, chasing supplier quotes. In fact, on that customer feedback, so there's a few, I can see there's a few clients on here. So they will be aware for every new client that we take on board, we get their feedback to make sure that we are, we're liked and we're doing things well. So that's important. Every business should do that, but that's a VA task. Drafting out contracts and agreements, preparing your mailers, emails, brochures, preparing presentations and support materials. So I don't prepare any of my slides. I give the content to one of my VAs and they prepare the slides for me. Provide marketing and tracking and research information. Setting up your social media channels and managing those channels. Looking at other people's comments, liking them, commenting back. All that's a way of increasing your social media contacts. Signing you up to other social media groups and then friending people in those social media groups. It's an easy way to get yourself known, easy and cheap. Event management, drafting out, I think I mentioned this one earlier, your email marketing campaigns. So drafting out the emails and sending those out. Sendinblue we use for that. Website updates, managing your joint venture relationships, bookkeeping, customer invoicing, credit control, producing financial statements and reports. As a small business owner, it's really important that you understand, money is obviously the lifeblood of the business. So it's really important that the money is flowing in the right direction and that there's enough of it. For some people, if you're not that person, we talked about different types of people. If you're not that person that loves the detail and analytics and this sort of thing, but you're more of a people person or more of a creator, that can be really challenging. So that might be one of those things that that you should be doing, but you're just not doing it. So get a VA, let the VA produce these financial statements and reports for you and just run through them with you on a regular basis to make sure that there's no surprises around the corner. Assisting with your HR management and recruitment, producing operations and training manuals. So all of your processes that you adopt, these should be documented in operations manuals, and these can be used for training as well. Your VAs can produce those for you. So I've mentioned the Philippines. Why the Philippines? So the Philippines is the most popular part of the world nowadays for virtual assistants, and for good reason. So firstly, the people are very, very good. They're well educated. Generally, they've sort of got a university education, or certainly of that caliber. They have excellent English skills. It is a second language English as a second language in the Philippines. They're very honest, they're very hardworking, they're very loyal. You know, I love working with people from the Philippines. They really are great people. They're happy to work on a UK time clock. So I mentioned earlier, there are some tasks where it doesn't matter what time of the day these tasks are being done, but then there are other things that that need to be done during a UK working hours. They are, depending on the time of year, they are either 7 hours ahead or 8 hours ahead, because we obviously have daylight saving hours. So normally when we're sort of starting work in the morning here, it's early evening in the Philippines. But they're happy to work on a UK time clock. But do think about that, because some VAs, as with everybody, some people are happy to work in the night graveyard shift, others aren't. Some people don't mind working weekends, others aren't, others don't want to. So when you're doing your interviewing, that's one of the things you need to check out. So what hours suit you? Our VAs, we train them already in our software and our processes and the way we do things. So there are problems, of course, when it comes from working from home. So it's really important that you understand what these issues are. And if you've got remote teams, that that you demonstrate to them that you understand what the issues are. So, this applies, really what I'm going to run through may not only apply to your remote team, but it may also apply to you if you are working from home. So, first of all, it can be lonely working from home. I experienced this myself. It's just only me and my partner at home. She's got her own business, and she goes out to work. So during the day, I'm pretty much sat here on my own, and I spend a lot of time talking to people on Zoom, but it's not the same as actually having face-to-face meetings. When we were in lockdown, and we couldn't go out. I'm working from home, and then in the evening couldn't go out either. I really struggled with that, because I'm a people person. So it can be lonely. Now, obviously, for us, it's a lot better, and I do actually go out and have meetings with people as well. So I'm not tied to home all the time. It can be hard to switch off when you're at home as well. So, your home does become your office, or your office is within your home. So that can also be hard to switch off. It can be easy to get distracted when you're working at home, especially if you have got other people in the house, that can be a distraction. If you have got children or partners that are around you, then they can obviously distract you and take your time. So there are ways of overcoming these issues. And now you can say hello to Marielle. Some of you may know Marielle. She's also my executive assistant as well. So some of you may have had contact with Marielle. So establish a dedicated work area. Have a good work area. If it's not an office, if you haven't got room in your home to actually have a dedicated office, in a spare bedroom or something like that, do make sure that it is an area within another room that is dedicated to work. If ideally, if it can be closed off, if you can put some kind of partition up or something like that, then that's really good. But have a place where you go to work, and when you're not working, you come away from that area. So you're not being drawn into to sit down at the desk when you're not working. Make sure you do take regular breaks. So try and limit your work sessions to 90 minutes, a couple of hours, as you would do if you were in a normal office. Drink plenty of water. So always have water on your desk. Make sure you're keeping yourself hydrated. Exercise regularly as well. So we talked about taking regular breaks. So yeah, you know, get up, walk around. If you're making phone calls, then if you can, get up and move around whilst you're talking to people on the phone. I tend to what I tend to do is to combine things. So I do make sure I get regular exercise. Some of you, if you follow me on Facebook, then you'll know. If you don't follow me on Facebook, why don't you? Please do. If you do follow me on Facebook, you'll know that at the moment I'm in the middle of a step challenge. So I'm making sure that I do get up, do lots of walking, trying to do well, not trying, doing 12,500 steps a day. It's a lot of regular exercise. Make sure you do the same. And dress appropriately as well. So again, just because you're working from home, dress as you would if you were going to the office. So, you know, some people, it may be jeans and a casual shirt. Other people may like to wear a suit and tie. I don't know, but dress as you would do if you were going to the office. Just because you're working from home, don't sit there at your desk in your PJs. Or even worse, don't lay in bed with your laptop on your lap doing your work. Allow flexible working hours. So I've touched on this earlier. So there are certain things that need to be done at certain times of the day, and there are other things that it really doesn't matter when they're done. So, you know, you can allow flexibility with yourself and with your team. So if it's something that doesn't matter, and you find some people are really good first thing in the morning. I know people that like to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and start working. It's a bit early for me. I'm not that person. I actually do like to get up early, not quite 4 o'clock in the morning, and I like to get some exercise. I like to meditate. I don't switch my look at my WhatsApps or emails or anything like that until at least 10 o'clock in the morning. So if you're one of those people that has tried to get hold of me before 10 and wondered why you can't, that's the reason why. So yeah, allow flexible working hours. Other people are better, you know, better later on in the day. So for some people, working in the evening is great. Try and have daily team huddles. It does depend on how big the team is, but you know, being in an office, you have these natural, let's call them water cooler moments. You know, you bump into people naturally in the kitchen, making a cup of coffee, around the water cooler, maybe having lunch. So you get to, you know, you get to have chats where you're talking about other things rather than work. You get to know somebody. When you're working remotely with people, you don't have those, so you create them. So you can have daily team huddles or water cooler moments where you actually chat about other things rather than work. Or it may be that you do this before having perhaps a team meeting. You know, just spend 10 minutes talking about what's going on in your life, and letting people in and letting people get to know you. You get to know your team as well. Let other people know your working hours when you're working from home. So, you know, a lot of people think, oh, they're working from home. That's okay. It doesn't matter if I'm ringing them up, if I'm bothering them. No, if you're working from home, you're still working. So let your friends know, let family know that during the day you are working. You know, that's not when you're going to be taking calls from your mum, from your dad, from your daughter, whatever, or son, that you're at work and you're not really available at those times. Try and establish a routine. So, you know, segregate your workout, have little slots. So I talked about some of the things that I do before 10. So I don't really start actual working and sitting down at my computer until gone 10. But then when you are, you know, establish a routine. So it may be that the first half an hour you're checking your emails. That incidentally is another thing I think I did mention earlier. This is what Marielle here does for me, is she actually checks my inbox for me. Inboxes, I've got lots of them. She will respond to those that she can. She will delete and unsubscribe to those that I really don't need to be bothered with. and any that need my attention, she will bring to my attention. So anyway, getting back to establishing a routine, do that. So have, maybe 1 or 2 slots at the same time where you just limit, maybe 20 minutes, half an hour to checking your emails. Another thing where you may be, another time of the day where you may be, I don't know, preparing content for presentations. Another time of the day where you may be, if you're putting together quotes or estimates, that's when you do your quotes and your estimates. So just create these little time slots and have a routine. I think I mentioned earlier, so there's a lot of common mistakes that people make when it comes to building a dream team. So firstly, don't know how to recruit. So I've talked through a typical recruitment process. Unless you're doing it, unless you're not a professional recruiter, then there's lots of mistakes you can make within that recruitment process. Not understanding thoroughly who you're actually taking on, and of course, a bad recruit can be very expensive, not just in terms of cost, but also in time as well. If you're working with people remotely that are based outside of the UK, not understanding their culture, really, really important. You must understand, when you're working from people that are a different part of the world, you must understand their culture and they must understand our culture as well. Not having a process, not having a way of doing things consistently the same way. Really important to have a process, and as I said earlier, to have that process documented in your operations manual. Not using any kind of task management system or software. So again, you've got to have a way of delegating those tasks. You can't just ring somebody up or send them an email saying, I need you to do X, Y, Z, or even worse, sending them a WhatsApp message. You've got to have a proper process, a proper system that you use. So have a way of doing it. Use a tool. So we use Trello for task management. There's two big ones, are Trello and Asana. Both of them work similarly. I think Asana we use for project work. So we use that within YVMT, your virtual marketing team, where we're doing projects for people. Trello we use for general sort of task management with teams. I think they work better that way. So Trello is very, very good. Make sure that you are scheduling out the things that need to be worked on onto Trello, that you're setting due by dates, and you're putting all of the information there that's needed to undertake a task. Not using any kind of CRM system. So a CRM system, if you're working with somebody remotely and both them and you are talking to customers, talking to clients, then have a CRM system. So every time you have a conversation with that person, you're recording what the conversation is. You give your virtual assistant access to that CRM system. When they're talking to your customers, they can put in their notes about what's actually been discussed and agreed. The CRM system will also log emails, track emails that have been sent backwards and forwards, appointments. So if you can have, as I have with Marielle, making appointments for me, they can put the appointments into the CRM, and then that will sync up with my phone and with all my computers, all my devices, so I can see what my schedule is for the day. Lack of leadership skills. So, when you are taking people on and you're building your team, you are there as a leader. You are the team leader. And of course, unless you've actually done that before, then it's easy to make an awful lot of mistakes. You're not the boss, you're not there to manage people. You are there to lead people. And that comes with a whole set of skills. Your job is to inspire people, to support people, to provide the support that's needed, and to motivate them and get the best out of your team. Not having any reporting process. So again, you've delegated the task, but how do you then monitor how the task is being performed? If there's questions that need to be asked, if there's any clarity, if there's any more information that's required from you, what's your process for actually dealing with that? expecting 24/7 support. So this, in a way, it goes hand in hand with you as a home worker, or your team as a home worker. You know, if you don't have any boundary between the area where you work and where you live, it can become quite easy for that to get blurred, and you know, people can end up, you know, in the evening when they should be relaxing, suddenly starting to jump on the computer and start sending out emails or doing a bit of work. So the other side of that is, when you have a team that are working remotely, don't think to yourself, oh, well, that's okay, they're working from home, so I can get hold of them any time of the day or night. It's not the case. You must understand that when people are working from home, it's just like being in an office. You know, if you're working in an office and somebody, you know, they start at 9 o'clock, they finish at 5 o'clock, that's it. They've gone home, they've left, that's their personal time. So understanding that, and when people aren't working, I actually say there's 3 sets of working hours, and you need to agree this with your remote team. So there are, the first set of working hours are when they're actually there, they're doing their work, they're logged on, they're getting paid for their time. That's their main sort of working hours. Then for most people, there are hours when they're not working, but they're contactable. So they're going to have their phone with them. They're not committed elsewhere doing other things. So if you send them a message, then they're going to see that message, they can respond to it. And then there's their downtime. They're not working at all, they're not available. So they've got other things going on in their life. Maybe they've got family, the leisure time, they're sleeping, they're eating, whatever, but they're not available to you. So it's clear, it's important to understand those hours. Are they available on a Saturday or Sunday? Or, you know, if you send them a message on a Friday at 5 o'clock, if they're not available on Saturday or Sunday, then you're not going to get a reply till the weekend. That's fine, as long as you understand that. It doesn't mean that you can't send somebody a message when they're not available, but don't expect a reply until they're back. They are then available. Another big mistake that people make is not working with individual skills. So I mentioned earlier, play to people's strengths. Don't try and strengthen their weaknesses. So make sure that you're giving people the right sort of tasks that they're going to be good at. Work to those skills, and the things that they're not good at, you find somebody else to do. And of course, when it comes to recruitment agencies, they don't provide any of this support at all. So, you know, they will recruit for you somebody, and then after that, you're on your own. Of course, with us, we do provide ongoing support. As I said, that's our core value. That's what we do. Ongoing support, not just for you, but if you've got a virtual assistant, through us for your virtual assistant as well, giving them further training and support and help in what they do. So I hope you have found that useful and got time for any questions that you may have. So if you have got any questions, please do type those into the Q&A box. And just a reminder then, so whilst you do that, so next month, mid-month mentoring will be on the 13th of April, 2 o'clock again, and the subject will be effective team leadership. So leading the team from the sideline. I think somebody has got a question. I'm going to come to you in a minute, Kim. Or in fact, Kim, if you can type your question into the Q&A box, then I will answer it. If not, I will open your mic if you wish me to. So yeah, effective team leadership, leading from the sidelines. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So we talked about earlier, we just said that being a good leader is a skill, it's an art. It's an art. So, okay, thanks, Kim. So question here is, could you please explain the pricing structure Yes, I can. So when we recruit a virtual assistant for you, you get a number of different things. It's all detailed out on the website. But we charge £495 for the actual recruitment, and that includes things like mentoring with myself and working with a virtual assistant, access to a video vault with lots of tutorials and videos, all about working with virtual assistants, technical support desk, all sorts of things. That comes with for the one-off charge of £495 plus VAT. We then charge by the hour for the number of hours that you use your VA for, and it's a sliding scale. So the more hours that you use a VA for, the less it's going to cost you. We have a minimum use of 25 hours per month, and that at that rate, between 25 hours and 80 hours a month, we charge £7.25 an hour, so which is equivalent to £181 per month. And then it comes down from there. So if you're using your VA for between 80 hours and 120 hours, it's down to £6.25 an hour. And if you're using your VA for over 120 hours a month, it's £5.25 an hour. So a lot, all plus VAT, by the way. So a lot less than actually recruiting somebody based in the UK. And you're going to get somebody much higher caliber than if you had somebody and you're paying the minimum wage in the UK. I hope that helps. Another question I've got here is how do we actually track the hours? So really good question. So we use a bit of software called Hubstaff, and with Hubstaff, the virtual assistant, when they start working, they start a timer on their desk. So it will record the hours that they're working. It takes screenshots and monitors keyboard and mouse activity. So we know that they are actually working when they're meant to be. And that is what we use for the basis of our invoicing. Okay, so any other questions? Don't think so. So just to finish off, if you would like to find out more, as it says there, you can go to the website, awakentobusiness.com. There's also the QR code there. And if you scan that QR code, then you can book in. You can do it via the website as well. Book a video call with me, book a Zoom call, and we can have a chat, and I can tell you a bit more and see how we can best help you. So how about that for timing? Just coming up to 3 o'clock now. Thank you very much indeed for attending today's session. And if I don't see you before, then I look forward to seeing you next month. Thank you. Bye-bye.